That 1974 Pontiac GTO sitting quietly in your neighbor's garage? He swears it's worth $40,000. Here's the brutal truth. On a good day, it's barely worth 12. And that's not an exception. That's a warning. Because today, we're exposing 15 so-called muscle cars that don't just disappoint. They destroy bank accounts, drain patience, and turn automotive dreams into financial nightmares. These are legendary nameplates that lost their soul. Factory mistakes that should have never left the drawing board. And classics you should run away from, not chase. Let's start with one that hurts the most. Number 15 to 1974, Pontiac GTO. This one breaks hearts. Because the 1974 GTO isn't really a muscle car. It's a Pontiac Ventura wearing a Halloween costume. After 1973, Pontiac quietly killed the real GTO. Instead of admitting it, they slapped the legendary badge onto a compact Nova clone and hoped nobody would notice. Under the hood, a tired, wheezing 350 cubic inch V8 making just 200 horsepower. That's right. Your modern V6 Camry would embarrass it at a stoplight. But the performance isn't even the worst part. These cars rust like they're allergic to oxygen. The front subframes rot out. The quarter panels dissolve. The floor pans turn to dust. And here's the kicker, parts are expensive because almost nobody reproduces them. Values? They've been falling for over a decade. Guys who paid 25 grand in 2015 are lucky to see 15 today. This isn't a hidden gem. It's a financial sinkhole wearing a legendary name. Number 14 to 1980 Chevrolet Corvette. This car represents everything that went wrong with late 70s and early 80s Detroit. The 1980 Corvette came with a California spec 305 V8 making 180 horsepower. Let that sink in. That's less power than the original inline-six Corvette from 1953. The automatic transmissions couldn't even handle that modest output. They slip, they fail, and they drain your wallet. Then there's the electrical nightmare. The digital dash fails constantly. The wiring gremlins never sleep. And the chassis flexes like a wet noodle. Collectors know better. They avoid these cars like the plague. They either buy the 1978 pace car or skip straight to the 1984 C4. Restoration costs more than the car will ever be worth. And that's why cheap ones are everywhere. Now you know why. Number 13 to 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442. This one hurts. Because the name deserved so much better. The 1977 442 was Oldsmobile desperately trying to keep the muscle car dream alive during the malaise era. What did they do? They took a regular Cutlass, added stripes, added a handling package, and dropped in a 350 V8 making 170 horsepower. My riding lawnmower has more torque. The quadrajet carburetor needs constant adjustment. The TH350 transmission grenades if you look at it wrong. The rear gears are so tall you need binoculars to find the next gear. And while parts availability isn't terrible, specific 442 trim pieces are disappearing fast. Values peaked around 2012. They've been sliding ever since. If you want a real 442, buy one from the 60s. This one just borrows the name. Number 12 to 1971 Ford Mustang Mach 1 with the 351 Cleveland two-barrel. This is where buyers get tricked. The 1971 Mach 1 came with two different 351 Cleveland engines. One is great. The other is a disaster. The two-barrel makes just 240 horsepower, and it feels even slower because these cars weigh over 3,500 pounds. Dealers love confusing buyers by not mentioning the difference. Then there's the rust. Shock towers rot. Torque boxes fail. Interior trim cracks if you breathe near it. Replacement parts cost more than comparable Camaros or Firebirds. And the oversized body style just isn't as desirable. Unless it has the 4-barrel or the 429 Cobra jet, walk away. Your future wallet will thank you. Number 11 to 1975 Chevrolet Camaro. This is the absolute bottom of the muscle car era. Base models came with a 250 inline-six making 105 horsepower. Even the top 350 V8 struggled to make 155 horsepower thanks to strangling emissions equipment. They're heavy. They're slow. They're unreliable. Catalytic converters clog constantly. Computer-controlled carbs are temperamental nightmares. And those massive bumpers weigh almost 80 pounds each. Yes, second-generation Camaros are beautiful. But these mid-70s versions? They're the ugly stepchildren nobody wants. Values have actually dropped as collectors focus on 1970 through 1973 models. Parts are available, but why restore the worst year of a great design? Number 10 to 1976 Pontiac Trans Am 455 with a 4-speed. Wait, Trans Am? That's supposed to be valuable, right? Here's the dirty secret. 1976 was the last year of the 455, and the worst one to own. That big engine made just 200 horsepower, less than half of what it produced in 1971. It runs hot, is choked by emissions. It drinks premium fuel like water, and delivers the performance of a modern minivan. These cars command big money because of Smokey and the Bandit nostalgia. But they're terrible investments. Maintenance is brutal. Parts are disappearing. Values have flatlined. Asking prices are high. Selling prices are not. Number 9 to 1973 Mercury Cougar XR-7. Early Cougars were sleek, sporty Mustang rivals. By 1973, they'd ballooned into personal luxury barges. Over 4,000 pounds. A 351 Windsor making 168 horsepower. That's painful. The XR-7 added fancy interiors, but no performance. Electrical issues are legendary. Dashboards crack. Vinyl tops rot. Hidden headlights fail and cost a fortune to fix. Parts are almost non-existent. Clean examples struggle to break 10 grand, if you can find a buyer. This car perfectly summarizes everything that went wrong in the 1970s. Quick pause, if you're learning something new here, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me which one of these you've seen rotting in a driveway. And subscribe, because next time we're talking about the classics that are actually worth your money. Alright, let's keep going. Number 8 to 1982 Chevrolet Camaro with the Iron Duke. A muscle car with 4 cylinders. Yes, really. The Iron Duke made 90 horsepower in a 3,200-pound Camaro. Embarrassing doesn't even begin to cover it. They're painfully slow. Parts are harder to find than you'd expect. And collectors treat them like parasites. Even die-hard third-gen fans tell you to avoid these. Unless it has single-digit miles and was never titled, it's not an investment. It's a mistake. Number 7 to 1978 Dodge Challenger. Not that Challenger. From 1978 to 1983, Dodge slapped the Challenger name on a rebadged Mitsubishi. A 2.6-liter 4-cylinder. 105 horsepower. Rust issues everywhere. The Hemi badge was pure marketing nonsense. These cars have nothing to do with the legendary E-body Challengers. Perfect examples are worth maybe 3 grand. If someone tries to sell you one as rare, run. Number 6 to 1974 AMC Matador X. AMC tried to play the muscle game. They failed spectacularly. Nearly 3,900 pounds. A 360 V8 struggling to move it. Build quality was awful. Interiors fell apart. Trim disintegrated. Parts availability is a cruel joke. Clean examples might bring 8 grand, if you find the world's biggest AMC fan. Most are scrap metal. Number 5 to 1971 Plymouth Cricket. Not technically a muscle car, but dealers love sneaking them into classic collections. A rebadged British import with a 70 horsepower engine. So unreliable that dealers refused to service them. Class action lawsuits followed. Parts are nearly impossible to find. Survivors are worth 2 grand to collectors who enjoy suffering. Number 4 to 1980 Chevrolet Citation X-11. Front-wheel drive muscle car. That sentence alone should scare you. 135 horsepower through the front wheels. Torque steer like a runaway boat. Brake failures. Transmission failures. Terrible build quality. Perfect examples still struggle to break 3 grand. They were bad when new. Time didn't help. Number 3 to 1977 Chevrolet Vega. This car nearly destroyed Chevrolet's reputation. Rust nightmares. Self-destructing engines. Rear axles snapping. Restoration is pointless. Even the Cosworth version is barely valuable. If you want a 70s compact, buy a Datsun 510 instead. Number 2 to 1982 Dodge Rampage. A front-wheel drive muscle truck. 84 horsepower. Couldn't haul. Couldn't tow. Couldn't move. Rust everywhere. Parts availability is terrible. Proves one thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Number 1 to 1974 Ford Mustang 2. Here it is. The worst muscle car you can buy. A Pinto with a Mustang badge. 88 horsepower 4-cylinder. 105 horsepower V6. Even the V8 barely hit 140 horsepower. Cramped. Slow. Cheaply built. And somehow people still ask big money for them. They're not classics. They're mistakes. Walk away. Better yet, run. So there you have it. 15 muscle cars that promise nostalgia and deliver regret. Remember, old doesn't mean valuable. And a famous badge doesn't guarantee greatness. If this video saved you from a bad purchase, tap that like button. Subscribe for smarter car buying. And tell me in the comments which one surprised you the most. Because a classic car should make you smile, not call your bank. See you next time.